Welcome to Talk Theory. It's your host, Kiara Barnes, where I talk all things life, what makes us human, and what makes us superhuman. Sit back, relax, and join me for a chat. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Talk Theory. Thank you. I don't know. Thank you so much for listening. I've been receiving some love from a lot of new listeners. So hey y'all, how you doing? I got to be on He Said Ella Dijo with my co-castmates. It's Rosalind Sanchez and her husband Eric Winter, their podcast. And so they had John Gabriel Rodriguez. It's so weird to say his name fully because he's just John to me, just John. But they had us on to talk Fantasy Island and how we got started in the industry, and it was just so much fun. So I've gotten a few new listeners after being on that podcast. So just want to say hi. Hello. Welcome. So glad to have you. That was a really fun podcast, and I love He Said Ella Dio because they are so funny. Oh my gosh. Eric and Roz are that's a podcast I listen to when I need a good laugh because I'm guaranteed one. Make sure you go over there and watch because they recorded and we did audio. So you can watch if you want, or if you want to listen along, you can do that too. Whatever tickles your fancy. It was good. It was a lot of fun to catch up with family. So, hey, thanks. I'm really grateful to have you guys, everyone here to listen to this new episode. I've been, having my little thinking cap on as of late. Things have been good, things have been better. I just been really present and enjoying like the feeling of life. And not using my, overthinker intellectual side, but just really getting into the feeling of life, which has been interesting. I'm really excited because I'm starting adult ballet. I did it when I was younger. I was a little late on the game, but now I've been really wanting to get back into it just to, stay up on the movements and things like that. Also, ballet has always been so relaxing for me. Nothing's better than waking up early and you go to the studio and you turn on some classical music. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. Anyways, I'm really excited about that. And the reason I wanted to get into it is just because I'm in this space with life right now where I want to be present as possible. And I think the way to do that is getting very familiar with your body again. And so, yeah, excited about that. Which anyway this is why I love this podcast, because it's just like talking to some friends, like you're over, you know what I mean? We're having some water, some lemonade if we're getting crazy. And we're just chatting. But through this self-exploration as of late, I've been just, thinking about a lot of stuff in a different kind of way. And one of those things is the concept of change and choice. And, this somewhat kind of has to do with the idea of people pleasing in some aspects. and balancing doing what's right for you and you know, what feels good to you, feels authentic to you, and not feeling like you need to overextend yourself. And, you know, that also stems from this want for approval on a deeper level to, you know, be seen. And but not only just be seen with some kind of value or respect. And it can also be found in the streams of the simple day-to-day things, like our choices. And I'll give you an example. So I was with my friend. We were having a nice park evening and the sun's out. And I'm a very big fan of this particular ice cream joint. They make the best, oh my gosh, the best vegan ice cream I've had to date. So, you know, I was telling my friend this. We're planning to go there after the park. And so we leave and I punch in the address. And then I realize after driving for a good amount of time that we're going downtown. And look, this is no shade to downtown lovers. I'm not a cityscape kind of person. You know, even when I lived in New York, I didn't love it. Like, it was a moment, but I didn't love it. I mean, I learned a lot being there, but I didn't love living there the way that I love living in California. However, I have said that I would travel back to New York City and live there for a show or a film that I absolutely adored. And same goes for like a play or something. I've been a lot more open. Plays used to terrify me, like the idea of doing a play, just because it's live and you don't get a second take and you got to be present and there. And yeah, you know, but now as of recent, I've been kind of less intimidated by that. I wouldn't mind doing that at some point in my career. Anyhow, back to what I was saying. Nothing against downtown, but it's just not my favorite place to be and has a different energy. And, you know, so I'm in the car with my friend and they're chilling and I kind of look at the destination and it says, you know, we're 3 minutes away. So yeah, of course there's a part of me that's like, I mean, we're 3 minutes away. We already drove, like might as well just park and go here. But then I just said, you know, hey, I really don't want to go to this shop. I want to go to the place that I meant to go. And, you know, I know that we drove this way. And they just go, yeah, honestly, I'm totally good with that. Like, we can turn around. I'm cool. It's not like we live downtown. You know what I'm saying? And even if we did, it just wouldn't matter. And so, you know, just like that, boom, you know, we got out of downtown and started going to the right place, the ice cream shop, and it, you know, it was good to go. And I'm so happy because the ice cream was so good. We had a great time. Had our ice cream in our little cake cones. I didn't know that's what they were called, but yeah, our cake cones. I had a good time. And even though this was like a quick moment, it was also a small lesson. My father's done this to me. Like, it's always like, what was that trying to teach you? And he's listening to this right now. Like, is that what I sound like? But now it's just been instilled with me for the rest of my life. I'll always just instinctually do that. And so, you know, that happened and I was like, oh, this was kind of a small lesson. I realized that that moment showed me that I have free will. I have choice. I can choose to do something else if the current thing I'm looking at or viewing isn't pleasing me. And, you know, that can get deep if we think about it, right? In the sense of our mood and what we're paying attention to. You know, so if I notice I have a dominant thought that's more negative, than it is positive, then I actually have the ability to check that thought and shift it to something else. And of course, there's a natural process to doing that because we are all humans, and we're just heavy thinkers. So sometimes to get from a negative thought to a positive thought, you do have to make that negative thought live so you can build your way up to the better feeling thought. And this concept, it's known. It's called the emotional scale. And the one that I'm looking at goes, so like the bottom tier is fear, grief. Then the next tier, insecurity. And we're going up, right? So that's the bottom, fear, grief, then insecurity, jealousy, hatred, rage, then revenge, anger, discouragement. Then you go to blame, then you go to worry, doubt, disappointment, overwhelm. Now you're shifting into frustration / impatience, and you go up to pessimism, then you go up to boredom, then you go up to contentment, then you go up to hopefulness, then you go up to optimism, and then you have positive expectation, and then you go enthusiasm / happiness, and then that top tier is joy / love / freedom. There's a few iterations of this emotional scale, but it's definitely something worth giving a look-see. I think it's just super helpful to see, one, where you're at. And sometimes I just feel like you can feel a bit lower. But looking at this list kind of helps you see where you're at, really, and how there's a way to leveling back out to an energy space that's just going to be much more enjoyable and conducive to you within the human experience. But okay, to circle back for a sec, I just kept getting these opportunities to change my mind in the past week. And it was really interesting because perhaps for the moment, I would feel kind of this like pang of guilt, but then come back to myself. And it was like simple stuff like, oh, I didn't really get to call this person today because I had some things to be doing. Instead of getting guilty for that, I just told myself, Kiara, it is your choice to give anyone your time. It doesn't matter who it is. And if you have things you're doing, or even frankly just don't want to communicate at this given moment, you don't have to do any of that. And at the end of the day, it is someone's own business how they view you. That summary, whether it be good or bad, has nothing to do with me. I can't control how a person feels. And if I make a bunch of my life decisions and choices based on what others want me to do, I'm just not going to live a very fulfilled life, because I won't ever get to this point of feeling or knowing what true love or happiness, excitement is, because those moments are being fabricated or generated for someone else's like viewing experience, or instead of me. And that's just not fun. But of course, this can be something that's a little hard if you have a tendency to people please. And by the way, I do want to say, I'm not saying to be mean to people. There's a way of respecting your own boundaries, all the while being respectful to others within the process. But I will tell you, it's been so freeing and liberating this week to make choices and change my mind. If I wanted to go somewhere and instead of doing, just continue to do that out of obligation, it felt so good to just do something else that sounded way more fun to me. And it afforded me some space mentally, just not feeling so stressed, but also a lot of new experiences. And, if you're listening, you might be like, okay, so how do I start doing this? And honestly, you just start doing it. I really wish I had a more informative answer, beat by beat breakdown, but that's really just it. And I can only share my own perspective and speak from my experience. And that's what it is. Personally, I just got to a point where I was getting so energetically tired from overextending myself and doing what everyone else wanted me to do, or just feeling this, like I said, the obligation to be a certain kind of person or be perceived in a certain way. And honestly, a simple no is so powerful. Figuring out how to use it to your benefit, it changes a lot. And it's honestly a practice, and it's something you have to choose to do, like the theme of this episode. It's a lot of choice. Even if it's small, like how I started with the ice cream, that's kind of the perfect time to recognize a choice and then implement some kind of choice. So this is just your simple, friendly reminder episode to not be afraid to change your mind and or choices. I've talked about intuition a lot, and bottom line, the more you get to know yourself, you get to know how your body feels. And how your body feels is a really good indication of what you are energetically attracting and what you're currently immersed in at any given moment. So if you're not liking something or you're feeling off in your body, you can reset that and restructure to feel like your best self. So the theory of the week is this: knowing choice is your birthright. You become available to the nature of experience. Knowing choice is your birthright. You become available to the nature of experience. I love that. It's super simple, but it's true. You open yourself up to real life when you're present enough to listen to what your truest self is leading you to, even if it's to some really good ice cream. Just listen to you and your body. All right, people. Remember, episode 12, Fantasy Island, airs tonight, 9/8 Central on Fox. We've got one more episode after this. So after tonight, next week is the finale. Dude, this is wild. So I'm really excited to see, and I'm excited for y'all to see. If you haven't caught up, be sure to check us out on Hulu. We upload our episodes next day on there. So season 2 has all the new episodes up there. I think, all the way to episode 11 for season 2, because tonight's 12. All right. So I shall see you next week. Okay, love you. Bye.